Hey everyone, it's Josh from Blockchain DXB and today is the 21st of January 2026. And unfortunately, guys, the prices of Bitcoin in the global cryptocurrency market is definitely not looking great. Now, I believe Satoshi Japan is to be blamed for this. Am I right in saying that?
Hello, George, and welcome to the podcast. It's true, the market sentiment is neutral today at 42, and prices have taken a hit. The turmoil in Japanese bond yields is definitely a major factor, causing global shock.
And what we'll do in today's episode, we'll try to go ahead and expand on that news. Now, unfortunately, since the last 24 hours, the volume of stablecoins hasn't picked up pace as well, but the volume of decentralized exchanges definitely picked up pace. So we'll definitely run through some numbers. Now, the first news we're going to be talking about is regarding Japan.
And that's right, George. We'll dive deep into that, exploring how this surge in Japanese bond yields is impacting crypto, leading to Bitcoin dropping.
Now, regarding Japan, I believe it is a 30-year government bond yield, right? And because of that, looks like the prices of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies has suffered. Am I right in saying that?
You are correct, George. Japan's 30-year government bond yields did surge today, which triggered the sell-off in risky assets like Bitcoin, pushing it below 91,000.
We'll definitely take a deep dive into that. Now, the next news that we're going to be discussing is connected to the US Department of Treasury. And Scott Bessent, I believe he was at Davos, and he was actually asked something to do with Bitcoin. Now, he clearly stated that all of the confiscated Bitcoin will not be sold, rather it'll be going back to Bitcoin Strategic Reserve. And roughly around 2 weeks ago, Satoshi, I did talk about this in the Blockchain DXB podcast, because what did actually happen is some of the Bitcoin was actually sold to a Coinbase wallet. So you can clearly tell that these Bitcoins were actually sold, which was a massive red flag, not just for the Bitcoin community, but even in the political world. So we'll definitely go ahead and touch base on this news. Now, the next news, I believe, is to do with education, right?
That's a crucial point, George. The announcement by Scott Bessent is significant, especially given the past concerns about seized Bitcoin management. And yes, the next topic is focused on education.
And there are two giant companies. One is Tether, which is the leading issuer of stablecoin, that is USDT. They are partnered with a company called as Bitquick, and they are focusing on educating Bitcoin as well as stablecoin. Really interesting move. Now, the final news for today is regarding Vitalik Buterin, who I believe people know by now that he is a co-founder of Ethereum. Now, he has put out a really interesting blog and also put out something via X, where he actually said that DAO is important, but it's important to have a different and better DAO, right?
Exactly. The Tether and Bitquick partnership in Laos is a significant move towards financial literacy, and Vitalik's perspective on DAOs is always insightful, pushing for more efficient and effective systems. We'll definitely dissect each of these.
So we definitely have quite a lot of interesting things to cover in today's episode. But here's the thing, Satoshi, in every Blockchain DXB podcast, we go and look at two news from Dubai, UAE and the Middle East. Now, the first news is by a giant company called as G42. Why don't you tell our listeners what is it that they can expect in this episode?
Certainly. A major company has launched digital embassies and Green Shield. This is quite innovative, allowing governments to deploy AI quickly while maintaining full legal control over data and systems, essentially making sovereignty portable.
And when we talk about G42, I wouldn't be surprised, Satoshi, if they are the leading company in the world of artificial intelligence, not just in the United Arab Emirates, possibly in the Middle East as well. Now, the second news is all the way from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and the news is that Digico Solutions in AWS, they want to advance cloud and AI adoption in Saudi Arabia. So we have quite a lot of interesting things to cover in today's episode. But before we go ahead and kickstart today's episode, a quick word from our sponsors. Hey everyone, this episode is powered by a new sponsor, that is Amana. And they are the region's first and fastest growing regulated all-in-one trading and investing app. So look, guys, whether you're looking into investing in US stocks like Apple or Tesla, or mega giants like ADNOC or Salik, Amana puts the financial markets on your fingertips. It includes gold, foreign exchange, ETFs, futures, commodities, and guess what, guys? They have over 375 cryptocurrencies, and this makes them the biggest crypto selection in the region. Now, for the Blockchain DXB listeners, guys, if you want to go and build long-term wealth without thinking about it every day, explore Amana's pre-built auto investment plans, and all you have to do is set your monthly budget, choose your preferred asset category, and let Amana automate the investing for you. Zero fees, zero lockups, 100% customizable. And here's the thing, guys, Funding your account is easier than ever. You can fund your account with Apple Pay, Google Pay, credit cards, instant bank deposits, and even crypto wallets. No friction and no hassles. And the best part is, guys, let's say if you need support, you would absolutely love Amana for this, because they offer 24/6 human customer service, as well as a personalized sales support, real people, real help, and the customer support is in English as well as in Arabic. And for the Blockchain DXB listener and community, guys, I do have something really exclusive for you. What you can do is register with Amana using the code Blockchain DXB, or you can also use the link that is in the show notes below. And here's the best part, guys. Once you register, fund your account with a minimum of $100 and at least go ahead and make one trade, and then you'll receive a $100 trading bonus credit to your account the following month. But look, guys, it's real important to note, the bonus is non-withdrawable. It is there to help you trade and learn. So look, guys, if you're looking for a transparent, powerful and easy to use app, that's Amana for you. So what are you waiting for, guys? Download the app now, or you can also visit the website that is amana.app, and don't forget to use the code Blockchain DXB. And Amana, guys, is all markets one app. Next, guys, I'm happy to announce that Blockchain DXB is the official media partner with one of the OGs in the cryptocurrency and blockchain event space, and that is Blockchain Futuristic Conference taking place in Florida this year, as well as ETH Women taking place simultaneously. And trust me, guys, this is an event that you don't want to miss, isn't it? Because for the very first time, North America's most immersive Web3 event is heading to the United States of America, and the Blockchain Futurist Conference and ETH Women event is actually taking place between the 5th and 6th of November. And the location is absolutely stunning, guys. It is taking place at Guitar Hotel at Hard Rock, which is in Hollywood, Florida. That's right, guys. Palm trees, panels, and the biggest mind in blockchain and cryptocurrency is all in one place. So there will be multi-stage panels, NFT galleries, DeFi showcases, hand-on tech demos, metaverse experiences, even outdoor VIP cabanas, and quite a lot more. And the Guitar Hotel at Hard Rock, guys, is one of the most iconic venues in the country. So look, guys, if you're in the Web3 space, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, or even artificial intelligence space, or just want to do some serious networking, this is the place that you got to be. And to all of you Blockchain DXB listeners, guys, we have something really interesting for you, because you can get a 25% off the tickets. So just use the code DXB25, and the link to the event as well as the code is in the show notes below. And as an official media partner, I'll be doing exclusive live coverage, interviews, behind the scenes access, and I will be spotlighting some of the most exciting projects shaping the future of decentralized finance tech. So if you're at the venue, guys, definitely come and say hi. Maybe we can catch up for a coffee as well. So listen, guys, the code is DXB25, and by using this code you will be eligible for a 25% discount. And the event is taking place between the 5th and 6th of November 2025 at the iconic Guitar Hotel at Hard Rock, that is in Hollywood, Florida. And in the show notes below, guys, there's all contact details for Blockchain Futuristic Conference Florida 2025, as well as ETH Women. And look, guys, this is the future of blockchain technology brought into life. So don't just read about it. Be there and head to the website that is futuristconference.com and go ahead and use the code DXB25. So see you at the event. Next, Advanced Media. Advanced Media, guys, is the largest distributor of professional video, photo, broadcast and cinematic equipment and accessories in the Middle East and MENA region. With over 2 decades of experience, Advanced Media is now the largest distributor in the Middle East, representing more than 100 recognizable brands, including brands such as Zeiss, DJI, Hasselblad, Red and Rode. As a matter of fact, guys, the very mic that I'm recording is being sponsored by Advanced Media as well, and Advanced Media has showrooms in Saudi Arabia and services as well. Looks like they're definitely taking the Middle East by storm. And here's the beautiful thing, guys, they're taking corporate social responsibility very seriously, and they're focusing on 3 P's, that is people, planet and prosperity. Now listen, guys, if you do want to find out more information regarding the statement of corporate social responsibility, check out the website that is www.amt.tv. And here's the beautiful thing, guys, they also want to be a leader and set an example and reputation as a pioneer and member of the community. And in doing so, guys, they also have an AMT scholarship with SAE Institute in Dubai, UAE. So definitely check it out. And also, guys, Advanced Media is committed to persistently developing, organizing, and hosting training workshops, seminars, and community events that educate, inform, and familiarize consumers with new equipment and the latest technological advances. So listen, guys, do one thing. If you do want to support this channel, go to the website, that is www.amt.tv, and follow the social media channels as well. All of the details are in the show notes below. Next, Startup OI is global one tech platform for tech. It offers global high-paying tech jobs with flexibility in working time and location, global free tech events, and tech networks to connect with global like-minded engineers. A brilliant platform to listen to the tech experts in Metaverse and to grab their insights. Now listen, all you have to do is download the app Startup OI. If you're using an Android version, go to Google Store and App Store for iOS devices. Alternatively, you can also click on the show notes below to download Startup OI. Next, guys, listen, if you're into fitness, if you're into adventure, if you want to do something wild but still want to keep your health in check, there is a new podcast in town, a podcast focusing on obstacle course race in the Middle East. The podcast is called the Race Pace Podcast. So check out the Race Pace Podcast across all leading platforms. And the Race Pace Podcast is a peer-to-peer community-driven podcast where they talk all about obstacle course race in the Middle East, from Sandstorm to Spartan Race, from Tough Mudder to Desert Warrior Challenge, and also the Government Gulf Games, and quite a lot more. The podcast has interviews with athletes locally and internationally to get inside scoop on how athletes prepare for obstacle course race. In the podcast, they also talk about interesting stories on why they are motivated to do obstacle course race. And that's not all. They also plan to release 7 NFTs. And these NFTs are no ordinary. These NFTs will represent every emirate in the UAE. And listen guys, these NFTs are going to be absolutely massive. So do one thing, go to Spotify, go to iTunes, go to any leading podcasting platform, check out the Race Pace Podcast across all leading platforms. And finally guys, not your keys, not your crypto. If you have dabbled with cryptocurrencies and now are seriously getting to protect your cryptocurrencies, there is no better way to protect it by using a hardware wallet. And this is where Ledger Wallet kicks in. And Ledger Wallets are hardware cryptocurrency wallets made by Ledger, a company headquartered in Paris, France. And Ledger's hardware wallets are multi-currency wallets that are used to store private keys for cryptocurrencies offline. And Ledger offers 2 hardware wallets, the Ledger Nano and Ledger Nano X wallets. They are world-class experts with extensive crypto security backgrounds. They continuously look for vulnerabilities in Ledger products in a constant effort to improve the level of security. Now, in today's world, securing these digital assets is a critical challenge, and this is where Ledger kicks in. So click the link below to buy your hardware wallet and support this podcast. It is a brilliant way to support this podcast. So what are you waiting for? The link is in the show notes below. Now guys, as you're taking care of that, let's go and look at the global cryptocurrency market. Now the global cryptocurrency market since the last 24 hours is actually down to $3.11 trillion. But if you look at the total transaction volume, Satoshi, it is still below the $150 billion mark, right?
The global crypto market cap is $3.11 trillion, and the volume shows some interesting trends.
And it is below the $150 billion mark at $147 billion. And if you look at the transaction volume, it is up by 3.9%. But what about the volume of decentralized exchange? It has definitely picked up pace. So what is the 24-hour volume of decentralized exchanges, Satoshi?
The 24-hour volume for decentralized exchanges is currently 14.17 billion.
Now, if let's say these transactions were actually done on a centralized exchange, how much of a fee do you think centralized exchanges would charge?
Right, so centralized exchanges could charge quite a bit more, considering the total fees on DEX today were around 67 million. Their models are typically quite different.
So would you say that the fees in centralized exchanges would be around 200 to maybe 300, maybe even higher than that?
It's hard to say for sure, George, as their models can vary, and the total volume is still below the 150 billion mark, but higher fees are definitely a characteristic of many centralized platforms.
Now, when you look at the total value locked, this is relatively consistent since the last 24 hours, and today it is at $120.56 billion. But here's the thing, Satoshi, one matrix which I tend to look at on a daily basis, and this is the decentralized exchange dominance. Today it has crossed the 40% mark. Right now it is at 41.74%. Now, ideally speaking, this percentage should have been higher considering the fact that the prices have fallen down. Now, would you like to see this number around the 60 or maybe 70% range?
You're right. The current DEX dominance is lower than one might expect, ideally being closer to 70 to 80%. This neutral sentiment and price volatility certainly presents a complex market.
And another thing what the listeners should understand is that out of this 41.74%, there is a very high possibility that centralized exchanges are using decentralized exchanges as well. So in an idealistic world, this number should definitely be around the 60 to 70% mark. And in the episode yesterday, Satoshi, you actually said higher the percentage is definitely better. Now, one matrix which has fallen down since the last 24 hours, and that is connected to digital asset treasury inflows. To date, is down to $2.31 billion. But here's the thing, Satoshi, if you look at ETF outflows, unfortunately, the numbers are not updated via defalama.com. But my guess is that the outflows are still around the $390 billion mark. Because look, the prices have fallen down miserably since the last 24 hours. And we'll go ahead and discuss why the Japanese bond market has caused a lot of panic in the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency world. Now, before we go ahead and do that, Satoshi, why don't you tell our listeners the 24-hour volume of decentralized exchanges? Because Uniswap is leading the pack with $4.28 billion. Why don't you tell our listeners the second, third, fourth, and the fifth one?
Following Uniswap, PancakeSwap is the next largest with $1.787 billion in 24-hour volume, followed by Pump at $1.26 billion, Curve Finance at $639.74 million, and Fluid at $490.2 million. The drop in digital asset treasury inflows is definitely a concern too.
Now, I'm really curious to check, how the process would be reacting in the next 24 to 48 hours. Because here's the thing, Satoshi, yesterday, or rather 21st today, because we are recording this episode in the early hours of Dubai, was exactly 1 year when President Donald Trump took office. And according to me, President Donald Trump is doing great, not just for the United States of America, but also for the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency world. As a matter of fact, the news that we're going to be talking about is kind of connected to US Department of Treasury as well. Now, before we delve into all of this, let's quickly run to the volume of stable coins. Now, what's your assessment, Satoshi, regarding the volume of stable coins? I do feel this matrix should have been at least 50% higher than what it is. Unfortunately, the volume of Tether USDT alone is only at $108.52 billion. Do you think this number should have been higher for the process to pick up pace?
That's a complex set of factors, George. While stablecoin volume, including Tether's $108.52 billion, might seem lower than ideally desired, the interplay with DEX dominance and broader market conditions is key to watching the next 24 to 48 hours.
Now, I'd really like to see the volume only of Tether USDT around the $160 to maybe $180 billion mark. And that is only great if the prices of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are pumping up, because it'll actually mean a lot of centralized exchanges are using Tether USDT and then converting them into buying Bitcoin. This is just what my honest opinion is. Now, so far the volume of Circle USDC is concerned, it is at number 2nd. But its volume is below the $20 billion mark at $18.82 billion. Now, the third one is FDUSD, right?
You're right, George. The volume of FDUSD is ridiculously low at $4.52 billion.
Yeah, ideally, this number should have been around, let's say, the $8 billion mark or $10 billion mark. Let's do one thing, Satoshi. Let's quickly run through the market cap, 24-hour trading volume, and dominance of Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now, let me read out the numbers of Bitcoin because the market cap has fallen down miserably. It is below the $1.80 trillion mark. It is at $1.79 trillion. And here's the thing, if you look at the 24-hour trading volume, it is below the $50 billion mark at $49.91 billion to be precise. But it looks like a lot of selling is actually going on in the world of Bitcoin, because the dominance in the last 24 hours, Satoshi, has actually picked up pace. And today it is at 57.60%. Why don't you tell our listeners the matrix regarding Ethereum? What is going on regarding its market cap, 24-hour trading volume, and its dominance? Because it looks like Ethereum's dominance since the last 24 hours has marginally picked up pace as well.
Sure, George. Let me go ahead and read out the metrics regarding Ethereum. Ethereum's market cap is at $361.81 billion. And there's been a bit of a correction regarding the dominance. It hasn't increased, but has fallen down since the last 24 hours to 11.06%. And the 24-hour trading volume is at $31.18 billion.
Oh, thanks so much for the correction. Now listen, Satoshi, in every Blockchain DXB podcast, I tend to look at one new matrix. Now today what I want to do is, I want to look at the top coins that is connected to real-world assets. So why don't you tell our listeners all of the matrix that is connected to real-world assets, and we'll go ahead and look at the top 5 of them.
Sure. Looking at real-world assets metrics, the total market cap is $54.7 billion, up minus 0.6% in the last 24 hours. The top coins include Figure HELOC at $15.03 billion, Chainlink at $8.70 billion, Stellar at $6.78 billion, Tether Gold at $2.46 billion, and Pax Gold at $1.84 billion.
Now let's do one thing, Satoshi. Let's go to look at the king of all kings, that is Bitcoin, and unfortunately the prices have fallen down miserably. Yesterday, the price of Bitcoin was around the $92,000 range. Today, it has fallen down to well below the $90,000 mark, and the price right now is $89,704. And since the last 24 hours, it is down by 3.66%, and since the last 7 days, it is down by 4.99%. What about Ethereum? I believe it is below the $3,000 mark, isn't it?
That's right, George. Ethereum is indeed below the $3,000 mark, with the current price at $2,996. It's down 6.77% in the last 24 hours and 6.74% over the last 7 days.
So if you look at the global cryptocurrency market, things are definitely not looking that great. The market is definitely in red, and there is this saying, whenever there is panic in the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency world, we should actually be treating it as a gift, because the prices are low and it is an ideal time to buy. Am I right in saying that? But here's the thing, Satoshi, if you look at the market sentiment, it is still at neutral, but the number has fallen down to 41. No? Do you agree it is right time to go ahead and buy these tokens, or do you wait for a couple of days to go ahead and make any decision?
It's true that some people see market panic as an ideal moment to buy, considering the lower prices. However, with the current market sentiment still being neutral at 41, it's worth considering whether to buy now or wait for further clarity.
You're probably right, and to our listeners, whatever we are saying is definitely not financial advice. Make sure you go and do your own research. Now, regarding Binance, the price is below the $900 mark. It is at $895.05, and since the last 24 hours, it is down by 3.34%. But since the last 7 days, it is actually down by 4.97%. Now, look, Satoshi, the panic is created because of Japan, isn't it? And the news is that Japan's 30-year-old government bond yields, they did actually surge about 3.9% today, and that has actually caused a shock in the global market. Now, before we go ahead and get into the details regarding this, Satoshi, I want you to go ahead and explain this at 3 different levels. Why would this particular news be a massive impact, let's say, for traders in the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency world? Secondly, for institutional investors, why this news is so important? And thirdly, from a political point of view, why this news is important, keeping in mind the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies.
The impact on... So, the surge in Japan's bond yields is causing quite the stir. For traders in crypto, it brings panic and big swings because global liquidity tightens, putting pressure on prices. Institutional investors likely see it as a major risk, prompting caution. And politically, it highlights how global financial stress can impact cryptocurrency markets and potentially influence policy and regulation.
That's a really interesting perspective that you laid out there. Now, this spike did actually make investors pull out money from risky assets, and it did actually cause the price of Bitcoin to actually go down. But here's the thing, Satoshi, safe haven assets like gold and silver did actually soar, because traders are trying to seek some stability. But I have a question for you, Satoshi. With Bitcoin dropping below $91,000, while gold and silver are surging, should investors start questioning if Bitcoin is truly a safe haven?
That's a valid consideration based on the current data. The recent surge in Japanese bond yields has seemingly triggered a flight to traditional safe havens like gold and silver, while simultaneously pushing Bitcoin prices down. This market divergence does raise questions about Bitcoin's true safe haven status in the current global economic climate.
But again, if you look at the history of Bitcoin, I believe we just have little over a decade, isn't it? And if you look at gold and silver, we have 1,000 years worth of history. I think that is one of the reasons why the prices of Bitcoin is not picking up pace. In contrast, the prices of gold is actually picking up pace. Now, here's the thing, Satoshi, rising Japanese yields has actually reduced global liquidity, which directly pressures crypto and other riskier markets, showing how bond stress spreads worldwide, isn't it?
That's a fair point. The limited history and track record of Bitcoin compared to established safe havens like gold, which has thousands of years of historical validation, likely plays a significant role in investor perception during times of market stress. The reduction in global liquidity due to Japanese bond yields is a key driver, exerting direct pressure on crypto and other risk markets as investors seek stability in assets like gold.
So let's see how the next few days turn out to be, because I was under the impression that because the prices are pumping up just a little few days ago, there is a possibility the prices of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies may actually reach a new all-time high. But hey, the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency world is ridiculously volatile. Now let's go ahead and discuss the second news, Satoshi. And this is connected to the US Department of Treasury, that is Scott Bessent, because he was present at the World Economic Forum. And what did he actually say, Satoshi? Do you want to tell our listeners word to word what he actually said at the event?
Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, mentioned at the World Economic Forum in Davos that the government's policy is to add seized Bitcoin to their digital asset reserve. This includes Bitcoin seized from the Tornado Cash and Samurai Wallet developers.
Now, for our listeners, a bit of a history. What happened, I believe it was in October or November of last year, a part of the Bitcoin that was actually seized by the US Department of Justice was actually sold by a Coinbase wallet. So what happened is that the Bitcoin that was confiscated by Samurai developer was actually transferred to a Coinbase wallet, and from that Coinbase wallet it actually got sold. But looks like now we have a completely new turn to this. Now it is great that Scott Bessent has actually cleared it out and stating that confiscated Bitcoin will actually go back to Bitcoin Treasury. But here's the thing, Satoshi did actually decline to comment on ongoing legal cases, but he clearly stressed that any seized Bitcoin will be kept by the federal government once legal matters are settled. Now in the past, we know that Joe Biden and his administration, they were outright selling a lot of these Bitcoins that was confiscated. As a matter of fact, Satoshi, in 2024, I believe it was in May or June of 2024, Germany decided to dump a lot of the Bitcoin, and guess how many Bitcoin they actually sold during that time? Do you want to take a wild guess?
Given the volatility and the significant nature of government actions, I'd say it was likely a substantial amount, potentially tens or hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin to have such a notable impact.
It was around 55,000 Bitcoin that they actually sold. And here's the crazy thing, had they kept that 55,000 Bitcoin, they would have profited by roughly around $2 or $3 billion. So this goes back to the hodl mentality, isn't it? But nonetheless, this news regarding the US Department of Treasury, where Scott Bessent did actually clarify the World Economic Forum that in future the current confiscated Bitcoin will not be sold. Rather, it will go to Bitcoin Strategic Reserve. I do think is absolutely great because it ensures that the supply is reduced in a way, isn't it?
That's a significant policy shift compared to the previous sale in November. The decision to hold the seized Bitcoin in a strategic reserve, as clarified by Scott Bessent, could definitely influence market dynamics and perceptions of supply.
And if any of the listeners want to go ahead and investigate regarding these Bitcoin, you can actually do that by going to bitcoinmagazine.com, because they did actually receive a letter, and in that letter there's public addresses and quite a lot of other. And here's the beauty about Bitcoin, all of the transactions are publicly verifiable. So whenever anyone goes ahead and sells any Bitcoin, anyone in the entire world can actually go ahead and validate it that these Bitcoins have completely been sold. And that is one of the reasons why he probably wanted to decline making any comment. Now let's go ahead and talk about the next news for today, Satoshi. And this I do believe is to do with education, where Tether and Bitquick are collaborating to promote Bitcoin as well as stablecoin education in Laos, right?
That's right. Tether and Bitquick are partnering to boost financial literacy in Laos, focusing on Bitcoin and stablecoins, especially USDT. They're planning online courses and events to educate 10,000 or more people.
And the whole idea is to promote financial literacy and inclusion. And so far as Bitquick is concerned, it is a licensed local exchange, and they will be creating online courses. Now, can you tell the city, Satoshi, where they'll be hosting these events?
They'll be hosting events in major cities like Vientiane and Luang Prabang.
And the initiative, as you mentioned, aims to educate 10,000 people through seminars, roadshows, and online content. And they want to help communities, students, and entrepreneurs understand and use stablecoins responsibly. Now, what I really like, Satoshi, is that both companies see this as a way to expand access to blockchain technology and build trust in digital finance in Laos. Now, there's one particular piece of education, Satoshi, for students, entrepreneurs, or businesses in this area. What is one piece of education or advice you'd like to give them?
A crucial piece of education would be to emphasize the importance of understanding risk and security. While stablecoins offer benefits, knowing how to safely store and transact with them, along with the broader market volatility, is critical for students and entrepreneurs to engage responsibly.
I'm pretty much sure security and how to go ahead and manage the wallet and making sure that no one has access to your private keys is something they will definitely be stressing upon. No? Now let's go ahead and discuss the final news for today, and this is regarding the co-founder of Ethereum, that is Vitalik Buterin. Why don't you tell our listeners what this news is all about, Satoshi?
Vitalik Buterin is calling for more evolved DAOs, suggesting that current models, which primarily focus on token voting for treasury management, are inefficient and have limitations. He believes we need DAOs to address crucial areas like better oracles and dispute resolution.
And he does feel that currently the current DAOs, they don't fully solve human political problems. So what he posted via X is that we don't need more DAOs, but different and better DAOs. Now look, Satoshi, Ethereum was inspired by DAO, that is decentralized and distributed autonomous organizations, which are essentially systems that less community manage resources, and they do that more efficiently than traditional organization. But here's the thing, most DAOs today, they just focus on control treasuries, and they do that through token voting, which definitely works, but it is inefficient. And at the same time, what Vitalik Buterin is saying that it is vulnerable, and they don't fully solve the human political problem. So what he's offering is something that you touch base upon to go ahead and create better oracles, where we can go ahead and handle disputes, maintain important lists, start new projects, and support long-term community management. And in order to make that works well, he also stressed that we need privacy tools, and these tools will help in reduce decision fatigue, and even artificial intelligence would be critical, right?
Yes, exactly. He emphasizes that making DAOs work well requires prioritizing privacy, tools to reduce decision fatigue, AI to scale human judgment, and strong communication layers. He sees these as central to new designs, not optional.
Now, in the episode that I released yesterday, Satoshi, I had a different version of Satoshi, and I asked that Satoshi to go ahead and give their definition of Ethereum. Let's see, how would you define Ethereum? What's your definition of Ethereum?
I would define Ethereum as a decentralized, open source blockchain platform that enables the creation and execution of smart contracts and decentralized applications.
That is exactly the definition yesterday Satoshi gave me. I was expecting a completely different definition, but nonetheless, thank you so very much for that. So these were the newscasts in the Bitcoin blockchain cryptocurrency world. Now let's go and look at two news from Dubai, UAE, and the Middle East. Now the first news, I believe, is from G42. So why don't you tell our listeners, Satoshi, what the first news is all about?
That's right, George. G42 introduces digital embassies and Green Shield to make AI sovereignty portable.
And this is to help government deploy AI quickly while keeping full legal control over data and systems. And if I'm not mistaken, Satoshi, the model allows national laws and also policies to apply to AI workloads, even when infrastructure is hosted outside the country, right?
That's correct. The model ensures national laws and policies can apply to AI workloads, regardless of where the infrastructure is hosted.
And here's the thing, governments can roll out AI immediately without waiting years to build domestic data centers or sovereign cloud infrastructure. Now, what about digital embassies? What is it they actually do?
Digital embassies provide a sovereign cloud platform that governments can deploy immediately, allowing them to quickly implement AI solutions without the delay of building domestic data centers.
So they make sovereignty portable, similar to how embassies carry legal authority beyond national borders, and sovereignty follows the workload, not the physical location of servers or data centers. Now governments, as you mentioned, retain full authority over data, compliance, security, and policy enforcement from day one. And what about the framework, Satoshi? How does the framework actually work?
The framework ensures policy enforcement from day one, allowing governments to maintain control over data and systems no matter where the infrastructure is located.
So the framework bridges the gap between ambitious AI strategies and limited infrastructure readiness. And so far as digital embassies are concerned, they are based on government-to-government legal agreements defining jurisdiction and right of fronts. And so far as Green Shields is concerned, Satoshi, it is the operational layer that enforces sovereign rules. And this is across all AI and cloud environments. So it governs identity access, data handling, security, compliance, audit, and system continuity, right?
That's an accurate summary. Digital embassies are built on government-to-government legal agreements, and Green Shield acts as the operational layer, enforcing sovereign rules across all cloud environments, covering critical aspects like identity, access, and compliance.
And sovereign controls remain intact even when workloads move across clouds or regions. And so far as Green Shield is concerned, it is actually delivered by Core 42. and they're doing that using a global measure of sovereign AI cloud environment. Now, these environments already operate outside of United Arab Emirates, right?
Yes, George, they're operating in Europe and North America.
And the system supports high performance AI workloads while at the same time maintaining strict national controls. And so far as G42 is concerned, they work with Microsoft to leverage global cloud platform wherever suitable. And the framework complements major projects like UAE's 5 gigawatts AI campus. I do believe President Donald Trump did actually attend that place as well when G42 made the announcement. Now, so far as the infrastructure is concerned, Satoshi, it can actually serve half of the world's population with low latency AI services, and the approach reduces upfront cost, speeds up AI adoption, and offers a flexible long-term sovereignty model. So definitely brilliant news coming out from the Emirate of Abu Dhabi. Now let's go ahead and talk about the second news, Satoshi, and this is regarding Saudi Arabia, right?
The second news is about Digico Solutions and AWS, who announced a strategic partnership.
And what is the partnership all about? Am I right in saying they want to accelerate cloud and AI adoption across Saudi Arabia?
Yes, that's correct. The partnership aims to accelerate cloud and AI adoption across Saudi Arabia. The partnership aims to modernize digital infrastructure across both public and private sector organizations.
And I believe the major focus is helping organizations deploy and scale artificial intelligence in real-time operations. Now, this initiative aligns closely with Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030 digital and economic transformation goals, and I believe it does support the kingdom's ambition to become a leading global digital and technology hub, right?
That's absolutely correct, George. And I'd like to tell you something more. The partnership is expected to improve efficiency and performance of government digital services.
And I believe it also aims to enable innovation-driven economic diversification across key industries as well, and compliance with local data residency and regulatory requirements is a core pillar of the collaboration. Now, the planned AWS region in Saudi Arabia, Satoshi, will actually help keep data with national borders, and this local cloud infrastructure gives organizations more flexibility to go and deploy cloud and AI solutions, right?
That's absolutely correct, George. And I would also like to add that Digico Solutions will focus on accelerating cloud migration for enterprises and government entities. AI enablement will be a priority.
And they do want to help organizations move from experimentation to large-scale adoption. So look, Satoshi, this partnership includes digital skills development to go and build long-term local capabilities, and key sectors targeted include fintech, e-commerce, logistics and manufacturing, and media and entertainment companies also expected to benefit from sector-specific solutions. And so far as Digico is concerned, I do believe the plan is to deliver industry-focused accelerators to go and improve efficiency and competitiveness. So overall, the collaboration aims to strengthen Saudi Arabia's digital ecosystem and future-ready economy. So look, guys, when you talk about artificial intelligence, Saudi Arabia, according to me, is definitely taking leaps and bounds. And along with Saudi Arabia, the capital of United Arab Emirates, that is Abu Dhabi, is also taking leaps and bounds. So these were the newscasts on the Bitcoin, blockchain, cryptocurrency, and artificial intelligence, all from Blockchain DXB. In case if you like listening to this podcast, please click on the follow button, give it a 5-star rating, and share the word across. Now for the next few minutes is going to be an Ask Me Anything series, where you listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. So let's get started with the Ask Me Anything series.
Sounds like an exciting segment. What questions do we have from the listeners?
So hey everyone, it's George from Blockchain DXB. You're listening to the Ask Me Anything series, where your listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. I have a question by Taylor who asks, are rising bond yields a bigger threat to crypto than regulations in 2026? What's your take on this, Satoshi?
That's a great question, Taylor. Rising bond yields can be seen as a significant threat to crypto in 2026, potentially diverting investment due to increased attractiveness of traditional assets. However, regulations also play a critical role in shaping the market landscape and adoption.
I would say regulations definitely play a much significant role in comparison to, let's say, what is going on in the Japanese market. Because here's the thing, Taylor. Today's Japan's 30-year-old bond yield jumped about 3%, which to be honest is definitely a big deal. And Japan historically has been a pillar of cheap money for decades, so when Japan yields actually do rise, it does actually signal that global borrowing is getting more expensive, liquidity is starting worldwide, and investors are becoming more cautious. The ripple effects are there all over the world, and even the cryptocurrency world. Now, why bond yields hit crypto faster than regulation is pretty simple. When yields actually rise, according to me, Satoshi investors can earn safer returns from bonds, and more money moves out of risky assets like cryptocurrencies, so leveraging becomes more expensive, and this is where liquidity dries up. And according to me, that is the reason why prices of Bitcoin actually fell down. But when you talk about regulations move slowly, isn't it? And it is often signaled well in advance. And regulations, according to me, can even bring clarity and legitimacy over time. And according to me, markets always can pass in regulations. And here's the thing, Taylor, if you look at it, liquidity matters more than narratives. And in 2026, crypto is not living in isolation anymore. And when global bond yield rises, central banks stay tighter for longer, and capital becomes more selective. And that is the time when speculation decreases. And even strong narratives like ETFs, adoption, tokenization, we've seen they have taken a massive hit since the last few days, isn't it? And this is why crypto rallies often coincide with falling yields, and major drawdowns happen during tightening cycles. And look, Taylor, today's Japanese bond shock is a reminder that macro level liquidity still dominates the cryptocurrency price action. But look, I do feel that regulation is still a massive risk, because here's the thing, regulation can actually hurt specific tokens or platforms, they can actually create regional disadvantages, and they can actually slow down innovation. So if you want my honest opinion, I do feel that regulation is more important, and as I talked about, regulation is gradual, negotiated, and often reversible as well, isn't it? And we have seen ever since President Donald Trump got elected, regulation has actually helped the cryptocurrency space. They help ETF, they bridge institutions, and more importantly, they reduce uncertainty. So it's going to be really interesting to see what 2026 has in store for us. But definitely an excellent question. And that's about all, guys. I'm the Ask Me Anything Seized on Blockchain DXB. In case if you like listening to this podcast, please click on the follow button, give it a 5-star rating, and share the word across. Remember, Monday to Thursdays, we have Blockchain DXB podcast. We look at the process of Bitcoin and the global cryptocurrency market. We look at the latest technological development. We talk about everything going on at a macro level. We talk about different partnerships. And then, guys, we look at 2 news from Dubai, UAE, and the Middle East. We look at the latest technological development. We talk about teeny and important partnerships in the world of Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, Metaverse, and even artificial intelligence. And lately, the Middle East, particularly Abu Dhabi, is definitely leading the front in artificial intelligence. And what you're listening to right now is the Ask Me Anything series, where your listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. So thanks so much for listening, guys, and have a nice one. Bye-bye.